Imagine this. You walk into a room where tension hangs in the air like smoke. Two people are mid-argument. Words are flying like daggers. One person insists they were betrayed. The other defends themselves like a soldier behind a shield. It's loud, emotional, ugly. And then you notice something. There's a third person in the room. They're silent. They're not afraid, not anxious. In fact, they seem almost in control. Later, when you talk to them, they say something strange. Power isn't proven by how loud you shout. It's proven by how little you need to. This is the silent mind trick. The invisible weapon most people never learn to wield. A concept rooted in ancient philosophy, sharpened by centuries of human experience, and still more relevant today than ever. But what exactly is this power? Why does silence sometimes hold more force than speech? And what does it say about who really controls the room? Let's explore. We live in a world obsessed with noise. Online debates. Comment sections. Endless takes. Everyone wants to be heard, quoted, validated. It's easy to believe that the loudest voice wins. But that's a trap. The Stoics, the Buddhists, even 20th century philosophers like Ludwig Wittgenstein, they all point to a hidden truth. The more reactive you are, the less control you have. And control, not volume, is where real power lives. Think about it. When someone insults you and you fire back immediately, who's in charge of your emotions? Not you. When you argue to prove yourself right, who are you trying to convince? When you need to speak just to assert your place, you're already giving your power away. You're playing their game, on their terms. But when you don't react, when you don't need to explain or justify, you create something rare and unsettling. Uncertainty. And uncertainty, in philosophy and power dynamics, is one of the most potent forces there is. What makes silence so powerful? To understand this, we need to shift our perspective. Most people see silence as weakness. As not knowing what to say. As backing down. But certain philosophies see it very differently. In Taoism, silence is a return to nature's rhythm. In Zen Buddhism, silence is the space where wisdom arises. And in Nietzsche's writings, silence becomes a sign of inner dominance. Here's why. Silence forces others to face themselves. When you're quiet in an argument, you create a mirror. The other person hears their own voice echoing, and it starts to sound hollow. They begin to question themselves, not you. Silence creates discomfort in the uncertain. People want feedback. Reaction. Resistance. When they don't get it, their emotional power loses momentum. They unravel. Silence reveals who needs control, and who has it. The one who stays calm under pressure is never the servant of emotion. They're the master of it. It's no coincidence that some of the most respected leaders, thinkers, and strategists in history used silence like a sword. Let's go back. In ancient Rome, the philosopher King Marcus Aurelius ruled over an empire, yet he spent his nights writing notes to himself about self-restraint, ego, and silence. In his meditations, he reminds himself daily, you always own the option of having no opinion. That wasn't indifference. That was power. To choose when to engage. To decide what matters. To remain untouched by provocations. In Japan, the samurai followed Bushido, the way of the warrior, which taught that composure in the face of chaos was more deadly than the sharpest blade. And in China, Laozi's Tao Te Ching speaks of water as the ultimate force, soft, yielding, silent, yet it wears down mountains. All these cultures came to the same conclusion: power is not loud. It is still. It is patient. It is deliberate. In modern society, reacting quickly is praised. Snapping back. Clapping back. But in doing so, we've glorified emotional impulsiveness and confused it with authenticity. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear: if someone can trigger you with words, they control you. And that's exactly what power isn't. Power isn't domination. It isn't yelling or pointing fingers or being right all the time. It's presence. Poise. The ability to choose your response, or to choose no response at all. Think of the most powerful people you know. Are they reactive? Or are they composed? Do they demand attention, or does attention naturally shift toward them? Here's the paradox. Every time you try to win a petty argument, you're signaling that you have something to prove. But every time you let someone argue into silence, you shift the dynamic. You are no longer in their storm. You've become the calm they cannot understand. And that unsettles them more than anything you could have said. So the next time you're pulled into a debate, remember this. You don't need to answer every question. You don't need to defend every accusation. You don't need to fight every battle. Because not all battles are worth your energy, and not all victories are loud. Real power begins the moment you stop reacting and start observing. When you stop trying to win, and instead choose to understand. When you no longer need the last word, because you already have the last laugh. This isn't passivity. It's strategy. It's not weakness. It's restraint. And in a world addicted to noise, it's the most revolutionary act of all. So stay calm. Stay quiet. And let them wonder what you're thinking. Because while they raise their voices trying to prove a point, you've already made yours, without saying a word.